Hey everyone, welcome to a special edition of Thursday with Fred instead of Fridays with Fred. I'm out tomorrow, so I wanted to take an opportunity to join you guys all today. If you are in the tech industry, if you're in anything inside MarTech, you know of a couple few big events that happen at any given year. Usually with the biggest vendors that are out there. And this week is Salesforce Dreamforce. And that is their big user conference, vendor conference that they put out every year. It takes over San Francisco. And we're going to talk about it. It's got some announcements, just like any big event. You've seen me cover Adobe Summit in the past. Dreamforce being probably definitely bigger than Adobe Summit. It is the quintessential MarTech event that is out there. Today, I'm joined by a colleague of mine, Jeff Moore. He is from Toronto, Salesforce solution marketing consultant, a number of other things. We've been partners in crime for good over a year when we were at ICF Next together. And now we're going to talk about Dreamforce and all things. So please welcome Jeff Moores to the show today. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm good, Fred. How's it going?
All right. So Dreamforce, here we are. It is the 170,000 people take over San Francisco for the better part of a week. I think we've been seeing, if anything, seeing so many posts from vendors and those that are going out to Dreamforce. They're back after a two-year hiatus, and better than ever. So yeah, Dreamforce, what's your take on it?
It's the go-to event of the year. You called out, Fred, that it's been slow for a little while. Obviously in 2019, where the last Dreamforce took place, 170,000 people descended on San Francisco. 2020 all virtual. 2021 was mostly virtual, but there was about 1,000 people in attendance, and it was all outdoors.
1,000 people, that's nothing.
That's nothing. No, it's all outdoors. Look, it's all protocol. But this is the year. I mean, they're calling for tens of thousands. 30 to 40,000 people descended on San Fran this week. But they're estimating up to, the interesting thing is they launched Salesforce Plus, which is the ability to go online. So if you can't attend, I think they're saying about 4 times the amount of people that attended are on Salesforce Plus. And I mean, that's pretty significant.
It's very significant.
All the keynotes, tons of great content, tons of great interviews. And that's what, as we go into Dreamforce, and you brought up and highlighted what is it, really it's about all the people descending, all the marketing professionals, customers, prospects, partners, and just people that share the common values descend in one place to talk about their stories, share interesting facts about their business. But let's not forget, this is a sales conference. This is,
of course, you're drinking from the Kool-Aid, man. You are drinking from the Kool-Aid, and it is a fire hose. And every one of these conferences are the same way. And you get excited about it because when you're there and the vibes come in and everyone's excited, and you get people, the big keynotes you mentioned on stage. So you got people like, Benioff and others, they're here, they're talking about stuff. It's real, man. It is a real deal event for sure.
Yeah, I think it's some of the other things that, if you think about what the draw is, it's a chance to go and, not only meet your peers, right? Other people that are going through the same challenges. You're hearing great stories. You get to talk directly to the technical folks, which is sometimes really difficult, right? So spending time with the technical folks and answering questions. And then there's the really cool stuff. You think about Mark sitting down with Jane Goodall and talking about her experiences, or Matthew McConaughey, or even, Bono was there yesterday, and just having that one-to-one connection. And where else can you go and, interact and hear the personal stories? And then, of course, check out great concerts where, Red Hot Chili Peppers were there last night, right?
Yep.
So you think about that, all that in one. It's a fun packed 3 days still going on today. But, big product announcements, meeting your peers for the first time, getting some great product, and then engaging, interacting with really great talent.
Yep. And they're, if anything, they're they're consistent. So I went to Salesforce Connections in Chicago a couple years ago when they had it. They brought it back in person this year. I wasn't able to go, but I kind of had this pulled off to the side. But really looking at this, that is the exact setup that you see in Chicago. Like, it's the same. You go into the conference hall, like, this is how they put on their keynote events, and the whole Ohana, like, company culture. You notice that they're on a round. They're in the round. They're not at a single person. That is how, there's not a single person. That's not a point of view. It's like a single person to kind of a focus on. They want It's an all-inclusivity thing. This is a part of their company culture is brought to the table right from, not just behind the scenes in conference rooms. This is how they present themselves forward too. And it's consistent every time. This is exactly how it looked like in Chicago a couple of years ago. So just for anything, I think it's really impressive that that's something they weave into everything that they do. And if you go to their expo hall, it's very outdoorsy and they call themselves trailblazers, and there's rangers, and there's all these things that they've really blended into this company that is beyond just being software that we all use every day. More often than not.
It's lifestyle, it's culture, it's, the awarding of the golden jackets. It's just building that, the identity and the culture and the environment together. Look, this is a big sales pitch, but they've got a great product. I mean, Salesforce is innovating. They're in with some significant, they have significant customers. They're really smart at what they do. And we'll touch on some of that as we talk about, some of Mark's comments from the keynote that are really cool around CDP and other initiatives. But yeah, they're really smart, and it's a good, fun day. And I'll go back to Salesforce Plus. Those that couldn't attend, a lot of the content will be available after. So even if you're there and you can't make certain sessions, you can go home and then be able to digest the content online in your own pace.
Yep, for sure. And I think, as much as I like, just joke like, oh, Salesforce Plus, it's the same as, Disney Plus and these others. But let's face it, it's the plus sign. I mean, well, let me say it this way. I think it's fascinating that they're positioning their content in the same way you might think of a streaming service. Right. That I think is an interesting thing, right? So now it's not just, here's content, but like here's content in a consumable fashion, right? We're thinking about it as a schedule. Other conferences have gone virtual and kind of hybrid are thinking about these things too, but it is, I don't know, this whole like plus, kind of thinking about, episodes and content from that perspective and how you want to binge something. I really going to dive into CDP or going to dive into commerce. Like I'm going to binge all the things that are on that. Smart, right? Thinking about something we think about every day and then building it into this whole world of of a branded ecosystem. So good on them for sure.
And it's global too, right? So think about the programming. You've got folks that are coming from overseas. If you're on Salesforce Plus, you can catch, content during EMEA or APAC time. Like there's 24/7 content going on. So they've really worked it out. And I think you and I were chatting before, Fred, they've got great hosts. Soledad O'Brien and other folks that they bring in that are really great speakers and driving engaging conversation. And it makes it fun, right? It takes it up a level from your basic individuals that might not have any experience, and you can tell they're a little frustrated or nervous. They've really upped their game. But I mean, that's why it's the biggest conference of the year.
Absolutely. So let's dive into some of it. So as anything else, right? We said it's a sales pitch. It's their annual conference. They're talking about announcements. They're talking about their innovations. So let's dive into some of the things we heard at that were announced that we expect to see, and some of the reactions to that. So first one, I think the biggest one they wanted to talk about was this whole thing about Salesforce Genie. So what's Salesforce Genie, and where does that kind of come into play in the world of where companies and thinking about their data is gonna live in this new world?
Yeah, so Salesforce Genie, and it's the foundation for, it's in all the different keynotes, but it's their updated, enhanced, real-time CDP. A lot of people, I first would say, but you already have a CDP. So in the traditional sense, CDP was great for marketers, homegrown built. With Salesforce Genie, it now applies to think about all customer 360. So folks that use Sales Cloud, folks that use Service Cloud, and all the other clouds now have the ability to pull all of their data together in one environment, real time. And the big thing about it is they've made the connections. There's zero data copy architecture. One of the big issues, and I was going recently through a CDP implementation, was having to pull data in, duplicating data into a CDP platform. This negates and eliminates that issue. They struck a partnership with Snowflake to facilitate a lot of that components. but it really consolidates, what a traditional company might have thousands, hundreds or thousands of data sources or siloed data sources. Being able to bring that all together in real time across all platforms, both in Salesforce and external through connections using tools like MuleSoft, is amazing. It's a game changer. I'll give you an example. First of all, 1 second. There's about 500 customers already on that are using this. Formula One, Ford, L'Oreal, PGA Tour, like big names that are using the data. And the example I'll give you is traditionally in the marketing sense, you might think, hey, I'm going to hit somebody at the right time. Well, they're catching this ad over here, and I want to be able to understand who's on Facebook looking at my ads and not send them promotional emails because I know they've absorbed that one. But think about the future and IoT and bringing all those other data sources. So I'm driving my car down the road and I get a warning light that goes on. Now, typically as a consumer, I might say, okay, I've got a warning light. I've got to call my dealership up, set up an appointment. Yeah. Now with all of this consolidated data, think about that. The manufacturer now gets this information through IoT. They can already analyze and assess what's going on, either troubleshoot it, and frankly, book an appointment for you or proactively book an appointment. So you think about that service cloud opportunity.
Yep.
There, it just streamlines the process in real time and makes things more efficient. So it opens up a lot of doors, Fred.
It does.
It's really exciting. I'm passionate about it. And I think that this is going to be one of those CDP is going to move forward and push forward because we've all been asking for these more personalized experiences. This is an enabler of that.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head when you think about what is the ultimate customer experience use case kind of come into play. And right, when you think about customer data, levels of privacy, but when it's things that are useful and valuable, right? We all know the phones are listening to us. We all know there's probably some app that someone didn't look at the terms of service on that's doing something with your data, right? But when you provide the value proposition that comes into play, that's when the data, you don't mind sharing your data at that point. And when you can do that exact use case, if that was the case where my car starts to make a clanking noise and it can start to self-diagnose or send data up to the cloud, get self-diagnosed, and my dealer calls me and says, hey, we can get you in a Thursday at 6 o'clock, or, drop your car off on Wednesday night. We're going to take your car on Thursday because we know, based maybe on a bunch of other, your driving behavior, other patterns, we know that you need to get this car to work, right? We don't want to limit your ability to do what you need to do. I know that I've sat with my car for, hate to say this admittedly, I probably got 2 recalls on one of my cars. And it's like, well, trying to schedule to get into my dealer right now. It's literally 45 days out. And I'm like, well, then I'm not going to worry about, I should just schedule and wait for the 45 days, but to have something proactively schedule something, that's a great use case. I would love to see that happen. And it's going to become more and more because everything's connected. More and more cars are being connected. Anything new is going to be automatically connected in some way, shape, or form. We're driving computers these days for the most part, right? So
I would say, Fred, like the big changes, under traditional CDP, it was all about marketing data, consolidating, right? Consolidating, unifying data. Now to start bringing in other data on, whether it's it's service experiences, whatever it might be, you think about ad experiences, all these platforms tying together to really improve the overall either buying experience or service or brand experience. In a one seamless method in real time. This is a game changer. And Salesforce is leading the charge here.
Yep, for sure. And so we got Genie, right? So Salesforce Genie, and then they also had Einstein before. So now we're talking about AI in a very, continued, way for them. So what's the future of AI in the sense of where you see Genie, Einstein, maybe something else, from a data perspective? I mean, let's just kind of run with the CDP topic, but the next part. So are we going to bring your own AI kind of world?
Starting off I saw that announcement. I put like the BYO AI. So they struck a partnership with Amazon SageMaker. So for those that know, they have Amazon as SageMaker machine learning, and now the ability to port that over and bring that over into your customer 360 environment. Pretty cool. It's not going anywhere. Machine learning is there. I mean, think about the insights that we get, the reminders, etc. It's great. It's continually learning. The expansion of that across Amazon, bringing Amazon platform, just like I talked about the Snowflake partnership. it's really cool, and I think opens up a lot of doors and a lot of new opportunities.
Awesome.
We'll talk about it in a sec too, outside around other partnerships that they announced with like WhatsApp, and so you're going to see more Meta partnerships happening, which is cool as well.
Yep. So 100% agree with you on that. And I think, again, the WhatsApp, we'll talk about that in a minute. That opens up a whole other, not in just like technical integrations, but I think there's a whole set of emotional integrations that go with that as well. But before we jump into WhatsApp, let's talk about one of the other kind of announcements that came out, and that is things around what's going on with Slack. Slack was their big acquisition last year. Yeah. Certainly, as you think about Salesforce in the past, Salesforce CRM first, then they started to make all these other acquisitions, right? They went into commerce. They've gone into visualization with Tableau being one of the other big ones, MuleSoft with data integration and data, hygiene. Slack put a big statement down when they bought Slack, and then making the statement of saying things like, hey, and we're going to become like a Slack first kind of world because of the way they want to communicate. So Slack had to have been set of announcements here. So where's Slack going now, and how is this going to become more and more of a tool? Not only just to think about when it was competing with Teams, right, or some other kind of communication device applications out there, but where do you see Slack going, and how is it going to continue to be baked into the Salesforce ecosystem and enable the Salesforce ecosystem to be more productive for Salesforce customers?
Yeah, so Slack's a big one. This is pretty cool too. We've all thought, and over the years around Slack and competing with Teams, they're up in their game. Not only will it be baked in fully integrated with their entire 360 network. So you think about collaboration that paves the way for what they're calling Canvas. So Canvas is it's the ability to drop in files, real-time collaboration, drop files, multimedia. I'm seeing the Teams line up here, right? Competing much more head-to-head with Teams, but tied together with their existing infrastructure, existing Salesforce infrastructure. Mm-hmm. It's coming next year, which is cool. Again, that one place for team collaboration is where they're going. And then expanding out huddles. This is interesting because now they're adding the ability for live video streaming, voice, screen sharing, etc. So as you think about these tools here, it's becoming much more of your go-to collaboration space, and being able to pull in data, pull in real-time information, reporting, etc. Slack is pretty fun now, pioneering, in my opinion, from a lot of what you can do, but just sort of amping it up and adding more scalability and more usability and more user-friendly tools to that environment.
Yep. We were Slack for a while. We moved to Teams. I'm on Slack now in another set of, community ways. And I think also, just even from that perspective, like you think of some of these communication tools, you think it has to be associated only with a company or a set of projects. Like I'm in Slack in communities that aren't associated with anybody and anything, right? It's a topic, it's a B2B thing, it's a B2B marketing, or it's, ex-employees, or it's, just, friend family networks are all using Slack. Granted, they're not going to use it for Salesforce, specifically, but I mean, Slack is synonymous with collaboration and communication. And I find it fascinating that they're going to do more and more with it. And let's face it, like we are a communication first world, and having that set of information at your fingertips, whether it be through a mobile app or a dashboard or integration with things like Tableau for visualization, it makes a lot of sense instead of logging into maybe what is perceived to be more of a clunky SaaS system, which is like, a lot of other screens, but people want that quick hit information, update what's going on. Slack's the way to do it. Slack is where it's at.
Yeah, I would agree with that one.
All right. The last one we have on the list, and we could talk about anything else. WhatsApp. So Meta makes the announcement. Zuckerberg makes the announcement that they're going to have this integration with Salesforce to allow texting and other kind of communication through WhatsApp to this whole B2B marketing world and the marketing 360. I know when I saw that, I was like, oh, really? Like, I treat my phone as a very sacred place, right? People do text me, and I do, but it has to be in a very permission-based, world. It is that kind of I kind of feel like I only let certain amount of people into my phone that I want to. This giving this more integration into a more enterprise system, I think has probably it's obviously they feel there's a benefit to it. I think my more visceral reaction was like, oh, that is a space I do not want you playing in, but I get it. So where do you think, what's your take on the Slack, not the Slack, the WhatsApp integration with Salesforce?
Yeah. So think about it. Over the past couple of years, we've moved far away from the meeting in person to doing much more digital, much more online communication. So partnership here, I'll go to some Marketing Cloud numbers. To date, Marketing Cloud has deployed over 1 trillion emails in 2022, 200 billion SMS and like text messages through the platform. This is another big channel for them from a B2B capability, and it's expanding. It's expanding how people want to engage. I know, Fred, you have
I'm the cranky old man, get off my lawn. There's the dog. A cranky old man, get off my lawn. Attitude about it. But you're right. There's a whole nother set of generations that are very much, yep, this is how I communicate. This is my world. Give it to me where I want it. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. We've all talked about zero-party data, right? With where cookies are going away. So it's all about being rich with the experiences that you have and being able to communicate and engage in those environments. So there's a big push on bringing a lot more in-house, bringing that data in-house, bringing those interactions in-house, because things are changing. And hopefully not everybody's a cranky old man. Did I lose you, Fred? Well, Fred seems to have disappeared for a minute. So again, very exciting there. A couple other things that came out. Commerce Cloud stores, the Commerce Cloud stores, and I've got some notes here, starting to bring in some, oh, there's Fred, you're back. And you're on mute. Dogs.
Gotta love them. And this is the beauty of live stream,
Yeah, that's great. No, I was saying too, there's a couple other things too that were hot off the press. Commerce Cloud continued to expand their currency offerings, Afterpay and Venmo support. Another one big one, if you're big into the environmental side, their net zero marketplace that it officially launches next month, but it's the ability for people to go in and trade carbon credits in one place. It's all about transparency. So think about it, you're a business and you want to offset your carbon emissions. You can go online and buy those credits to use. There's about 90 projects that have already launched so far. It will have the ability that anybody can go in and buy credits. So it's not necessarily limited to high-paying Salesforce customers, but anybody will have the ability through the marketplace. Salesforce has really established the marketplace. It's very well known through App Exchange, right? They've done a really
their App Exchange is huge. I mean, they
exactly.
They've set the bar on what an App Exchange needs to look like, right? Yeah. Just from the depth, breadth, coverage areas, the whole 9 yards. And also good on them for making the fact that thinking about integrations from the beginning as well. I mean, that's also huge on them from even setting that up. That's now common for most tech vendors now. If you want to do integration, Salesforce to set the bar.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Salesforce, it's, in addition to the Ohana culture, it is about the environment. We all play an active role. We're all responsible. Global warming is a thing. It's real. And corporations have an opportunity to be part of that change and helping us do better, helping businesses do better. And, the marketplace is just one component of it. But again, Mark is doing so much in that space. And, I think this is a great opportunity for them to continue to expand and expand their reach.
Yep, for sure. And yeah, they put it front and center. I mean, if you want to talk about sustainability and trying to reduce their carbon footprint, they're certainly, they're making claims and they have the ability to make a difference. As a lot of other companies do too, as you think about where they go and how they conduct their business. So yeah, that was a big discussion. And again, company culture, it's there from the beginning. And I love how they just integrate that stuff right in so everyone's aware that it's not just about money, it's not just about making business, it's about bigger things that are bigger than us, right? So
Yeah.
got to give them.
Yeah, again, Salesforce definitely a leader in this space. I'm really excited. Like I've been working with in the Salesforce environment for a while now. I love it. I think they're doing great things, and I'm excited about where their future is going. And I hope to continue to be part of that environment, that culture, and helping to there's if any partners that are listening to this call, there is significant opportunity for you out there. And this is my plug to businesses. I mean, there's a lot of products. Salesforce is definitely a leader, one of the best in what they do, and there's opportunities for partners to be able to grow and support these initiatives, both from professional services to ongoing managed services. There is a place for you, and there's significant opportunity there. And then also too, to the individual, I've never been more excited about opportunity for our next generation. Hey, my kids, one wants to be a teacher, one wants to be an engineer, and I've asked them to look at Salesforce. We've got folks that are thinking about coding, and there's huge opportunity. There's lots of jobs available for folks that specialize. Salesforce skills are in high demand. And I would encourage, folks out there, look at it. It's easy to learn. There's opportunities through the Trailblazer to gain some skills and creds. Thanks for putting that up, Fred.
Yep. I was gonna say the Trailhead is amazing.
It's all free.
It's all free. And it's not just Salesforce skills too. I mean, they give you opportunities for project management. They give you opportunities for some other certifications. And honestly,
it's fun. There's a lot of stuff that you can do on your own.
Yep.
You can get certified after. Sometimes they do free promotions for certifications to write your exam. That exam is transferable. Makes you, your LinkedIn tends to blow up when you have certifications because they're high demand skills.
Yeah.
And have a little bit of fun. And you go through and earn badges. I'm a ranger myself. I'm not a multi-time ranger as some folks out there, but there's a lot to learn, and it's free.
I am not a ranger, but I have my own account. I definitely, continue to learn, how to use their platform as it continues to find its way into my world. But yeah, I mean, it's free learning, which is fantastic. This is
I'm not telling kids, Fred, to not go on to post-secondary.
Yeah, no.
But if those that, I mean, a lot more folks are diverting from that, and they're getting specialized. Salesforce would definitely be an interesting place for people to learn some skills and then bring certifications, because I don't know about you, but I'm seeing young folks making $60,000 starting having some of these creds to upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars in the Salesforce space. So there is so much out there, and it's a great career opportunity.
Agreed, 100%. I'm a big fan, and if secondary school or college or university isn't necessarily in your mix for a variety of reasons, this is one of several sources that you could be getting credentials that up-level you without the debt, but give you access, to entry level, jobs with a skill set that is in high demand. Yeah. So great touch points there. Okay, so before we wrap up, we both know the Salesforce ecosystem. We know obviously a lot of the announcements that they're hearing today, but give me one thing that you think is still a gap in the Salesforce world, right? I mean, they're going to continue to innovate. They're going to continue to acquire, give me one kind of moonshot thought, like, man, if they did this is going to help continue to project and give them a trajectory of growth. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but where do you think is a gap that they can either through acquisition or other, fill in the blank, moves them even further into essential software that is required from most businesses?
Yeah, you are putting me on the spot here, Fred. I'm struggling, racking my brain to say, what are they missing? How about I flip that to say, first of all, that the opportunity for Salesforce is to continue to go deeper cross-platform within their customer base. So getting folks to utilize the benefit of Salesforce is when you're in the ecosystem and you're using the tools in the ecosystem. It's not, hey, I'm using IBM for this and I'm using Salesforce for this and Adobe for this. It is really combining those seamlessly.
Yep.
And bringing that story forward. I think that's, short of going out and I don't know what they need to acquire. That's Mark's vision and the other team's vision. But I would say continuing that focus of that seamless integration and helping businesses realize what's possible. That's the opportunity, is to continue to move that message forward. And it happens through events like Dreamforce, through connections, through your local community groups where there's, I've been involved in a number of local community stuff or email, et cetera, bringing those teams together and collaborating and talking through the use cases. We're always finding new ways of doing something that you didn't think of before. Somebody's probably figured out an AMP script here or some SQL query there that gets you that information or a new way of thinking.
Absolutely.
So I'm flipping that around, Fred, and saying it's really, the opportunity is to continue to tell the story and think about it as marketing budgets become tighter, as company budgets become tighter. Having your technology work together is a way more cost-effective way, and it allows you to focus your efforts on the things that really drive your business forward.
I would agree with that. Maximize what you own instead of just adding into your MarTech ecosystem. So that is it's a great call out.
Although maybe Salesforce will build a rocket and they can compete.
Yeah, who knows? Someone's going to have to provide the technology on Mars once Elon gets there. So, right.
Exactly.
So build a community of services out there. Hey, it's great to have you on today and just kind of, talk through Dreamforce and some of the cool announcements. Thanks for joining me today, Jeff.
Hey, I did want one other thing.
Yeah.
We can't forget, I did bring it up that, Red Hot Chili Peppers performed last
night.
Oh
yeah. Yes.
Their second time performing. They bring great talent. I do want to summarize it to say, I did write out a little note of all the cool talent they had. So if you're thinking about, I caught Gwen Stefani a couple of years ago at Connections in Chicago.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yes.
But again, you think about Red Hot Chili Peppers, Foo Fighters have performed twice, U2, Metallica, Stevie Wonder, INXS, Green Day. They bring really great talent. To their events.
Not the reason why you should go to these, but as a nice cherry on the top. You get to go.
Yeah, I mean it's a charity event, right? So, but again, it's one of those places where I'll cap it up as selling it, saying Dreamforce is a place to be. In addition to all the great people you'll meet, and your peers and the stories you'll hear and share, and sometimes if you're lucky enough, you'll get to present and talk about what you're doing to with your peers. Well, but there's also great food, great content. It's a great atmosphere, and it should be on your list anyway.
Yep.
You have a chance to go.
And if you're going to decide to go, you got to decide early, because when they do have 170,000 people there, getting a location, a place to stay is not easy as well, because it also spans all of San Francisco. I mean, it's San Francisco, San Jose. I mean, they take over for sure. I've personally never been, but I have heard if you're going to go, make sure you decide early. That's not a last minute. It's not a last minute I'm going to drop in event. So that is one that you have to pre-plan.
Yeah, you may end up with Airbnb event space and bring a bunch of friends or
exactly. Colleagues are all going to go rent a house, and I'm sure that's exactly what happens for sure. So
awesome, Fred. This has been great.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Jeff, and thanks for talking about this. We'll be on again at some point and talking more about Salesforce related content. But thanks again for joining, and thanks again for everyone on there, JC and Chris and others that I've seen in the comments. Thanks for joining today. I will be off next week because I will be traveling, but then back for a Friday with Fred shortly and soon. Thanks again for joining, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Take care, all. Thanks.
Take care.